More than a century ago, long before climate change became a global emergency, before satellites watched the Earth from space, and before the air itself became a warning sign, an invention was quietly born that carried the promise of a different world. A world where energy did not come from tearing open the planet, burning its remains, and filling the sky with smoke, but from the natural forces that already surrounded humanity every second of every day. It was conceived by visionaries who believed the Earth was not a resource to be consumed, but a system to be understood. They imagined machines that could draw power from the atmosphere, transmit electricity without wires, and provide clean, limitless energy to anyone, anywhere. At first, the idea felt almost magical, but it was grounded in real science, tested experiments, and working prototypes. For a brief moment in history, the future stood within reach. But the world it emerged into was not ready for such freedom. Industrial empires were rising, fueled by coal, oil, and steel. Energy was no longer just power, it was control. Whoever owned fuel owned factories, cities, armies, and governments. An invention that offered clean energy without scarcity posed a dangerous question. If energy could not be owned, how could it be sold? Financial backers withdrew. Promising laboratories were shut down. Research papers vanished into private archives. Some designs were dismissed as fantasy, others deliberately buried beneath ridicule and doubt. Slowly, the invention faded from public memory, not because it failed, but because it threatened too much. As decades passed, humanity built its progress on a foundation of smoke and fire. Cities glowed brighter, engines grew louder, and the planet began to change in subtle but terrifying ways. Ice that had stood for thousands of years started to melt. Forests thinned. Oceans warmed and suffocated. The air became heavier, dirtier, harder to breathe. What was once considered the price of progress slowly revealed itself as a debt, one the Earth was now demanding to be paid. Scientists issued warnings. Data turned into alarms. And suddenly, the question was no longer how to advance, but how to survive. That is when the past began to whisper again. Researchers rediscovered forgotten notebooks, abandoned patents, and early experiments that had been dismissed long ago. With modern materials, artificial intelligence, and advanced engineering, the once-lost invention no longer seemed impossible. Ideas that had been ahead of their time were now perfectly aligned with it. Systems capable of harvesting clean energy from natural fields could reduce emissions, decentralize power, and free entire regions from dependence on fossil fuels. Villages without electricity could be lit without destroying forests. Cities could breathe again. Oceans could recover. The planet, exhausted and overheated, could finally begin to heal. This lost invention is not just a machine. It is a mirror reflecting humanity's choices. It represents a future we almost had, a path we knowingly turned away from in exchange for convenience and control. And now, standing at the edge of environmental collapse, we are being offered a second chance. The Earth is not asking for miracles, only wisdom. The knowledge exists. The technology is within reach. The question that remains is hauntingly simple. When the invention returns, will we protect it, or will we bury it once again?